Hey Cass, what are you doing drinking on the job? Yeah, Lucy Dacus, Forever is a Feeling. Hello one, hello all, it's the most no war with Iran. Ghost of them all, Casper in the flesh. And it's time for a review of Lucy Dacus, Forever is a Feeling. This is the fourth album of very well-loved indie folk singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist Lucy Dacus, who is also 1/3 of the super indie folk group Boy Genius. And given how much I loved Home Video, I gave their album a spin, and I thought it was a good one. Not as great as Home Video, and nowhere near as great as Punisher, the Phoebe Bridgers record that I love very much. Like, I was just hoping the production, the playing was more focused on that record, more daring on that record. But as far as Home Video, an album that I thought was very well written, and definitely one of my favorites of that year, that I didn't review formally. This was before I started reviewing. This is like before I had like the channel, but I definitely enjoyed it a lot. And given how I found out in the beginning of the year that Lucy Dacus would be dropping a record later on this year, I was honestly pleased with the teasers leading up to this record. Starting with the super exuberant and romantic and also very horny Ankles with sparkling arpeggios. And I also love how bold the rushes of strings are. The string section is here. It kind of reminds me of something off of Mountain Goat's Sunset Tree, where Lucy Dacus unapologetically expresses her sexual attraction to this person, her sexual desires, but wants to make it more than that, wants to make it more than a fling, wants to have a commitment, a committed relationship, wanting a very rough night of dominance, but also a very pleasant morning of engaging, pleasant activities, something that builds a connection, something that builds a partnership. And given how there are lyrical signifiers here, I'm also getting that there is symbolism of this relationship being somewhat of a taboo in a way. And not only do I love the momentum of this track, but I also love how momentous this track feels, like how I'm visualizing this and experiencing this very dreamy, but also kinky, but also cute montage. And it's just unfolding before my very eyes with my ears. And I think it's sequentially fitting with Limerence, but also creates a contrast as well. And it's definitely one of her cuts on this LP and in her catalog. It's very ethereal, but yet very stripped back, very piano-driven, that are layered with these decadent string swells. Like, she's really going for a chamber folk direction here. Also, I love how Lucy delineates her inner thoughts on these critical and also concerning observations, and how the whole instrumental vibe complements her inner thought sequence. And there's also the very ornate, very classical style to her singing that I really can't get enough of. And Lucy continues to show how beautifully she could write a song, incorporating humor, and also make it very tangible with expressing her deep thought. Like, in each word after word, I feel like I'm in Lucy's thought patterns. It's like the musical equivalence of inner monologue, about how she's really dreading the thought of breaking it off with this person, just premeditating how she's gonna do it. Overall, a gorgeous, romantically smart, and bittersweet cut. Then Best Guess, which is another great teaser to the record. Yet again showing how clever of a writer she could be and how devoted the lyrics come off here, and very descriptive. Because this time, this is one of those tracks that is from the perspective of another person. There's also her undeniable unraveling play on words, where each word really reveals itself to be something very playful, cute, romantic. In a way, it's kind of like watching a mini romance film. And instrumentally, it just unfolds in a very cinematic, climactic way. And instrumentally, I love how it unfolds in a very cinematic, climactic way. In a way, instrumentally, it's kind of like Paul Simon-esque. Also, I gotta mention Talk, which is easily the heaviest track here, with its big fuzzy guitars and drums, ghostly ascending vocals. There's something very like late 90s, mid 90s about this, like 90s rock. Like, I know this is not a grunge song, and I know it's not 90s like literally, but for some reason with how this track paces. I could kind of like picture like the Pixies hopping on this, or Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins. And I also love its occasional whistles on here, which seems to be about a couple whose relationship is dwindling, how the bond isn't what it used to be, the communication is diminishing, and she's acknowledging her deepest concerns, asking, is this boredom? Is this fear? Like, is the spark gone, or does this person have their guard up due to conflicts in the past? And I feel with how grim and intense Lucy describes or corresponds her partner to be is absolutely chilling. Along with the correlations and again, these visceral questions that are just left unanswered. So yeah, I could honestly say every single that has led up to this album has been a banger. And I enjoyed quite a few deep cuts as well, but the biggest dud for me was unfortunately the title track. And it's mostly due to the production, which I found to be electronic indie fodder, which gets kind of messy on the production front, and I'm not too crazy about the reverb-soaked vocals that end up on this thing. But admittedly though, I do love the sentiment of the track, and the hook does roll off the tongue pretty well. I just wish when it came to the indie-tronic portions of the album, because as it's listed before, she is a fan of LCD Sound System, and also I'm not sure if she's a fan of Postal Service, but I'm definitely picking up that influence as well. I just wish there was more polishing in that department, but I did find myself engaged with Lucy and her relationship correlation to going on a trip that these two are going on, speaking on road signs, getting too close to traffic, shortcuts, but also religious and afterlife inclusions too. And there's definitely tension going on between the two. There's definitely a conflict going on here. And with the title of the record, after listening to this a bunch of times, what I've picked up on is how the feeling of forever is honestly like literally a feeling, but I feel it goes deeper than that, as each situation you'll notice here is about falling in love, falling out of love. And what I've picked up on to forever is a feeling, I would say you can take at face value, but I think it goes deeper than that, as forever being the love that someone would feel and how there's an infinite, and I would say does correlate to the heaven and hell lyric that's placed in here, as forever meaning like, oh, this is forever in a relationship, the feeling, but how it's just a feeling, how it's something you feel and sometimes you don't. The heaven and hell correlation, I would say, heaven being fallen in love, the hell being falling out of love. Also, Lucy continues to do what I admired on the last album, which is keep things suspenseful, but this time around, I would say her lyrics do have more bite to them. And the versatility when it comes to different perspectives and different situations, I feel she does really well here. Like on Come Out, which is beautiful, playful, romantic, very over the top too, if I should say, that depict this corporate individual who really misses the touch and really misses the romanticism of a partner who they're no longer with, and they're just doing whatever they can to get them back, doing whatever drastic measure they could do. And it does come off comedic, like this person's very adamant and passionate of reconnecting with this person. And also I do think there are lyrical tie-ins to the themes of the record here. Certainly another funny and cute chamber folk cut here. And I love the gorgeous harp strings and Celeste pianos just twinkling over the Spanish acoustic guitar as Lucy delivers these very beautiful, endearing vocals. And Bullseye, which is another cut that shows another heartbreak scenario. And I know this is a Lucy Dacus song, but I just found this to be a very bland Hosier cut featuring Lucy Dacus, even though it's her song. Like instrumentally, I think it's pretty mild, not much flavor. And I don't think there's necessarily a spark between the two in terms of chemistry either. And given how a lot of these tracks have conflict, have passion when it comes to the lyrics, even how I would say theatrical that Lucy Dacus could be, maybe not like over the top or bellowing, but you do sense a bit of theater here, just a little bit like she's telling a story, but there's really nothing interesting going on between the two. Thankfully though, we have the incredibly moving and heartbreaking For Keeps, which is a chilling and tear-inducing acoustic cut of how Lucy is acknowledging how Each gesture, each sign of affection comes more off as an affectation. And how Lucy has these saddening feelings of departure even though the person is in her presence. And even though this is a bare, stripped back track, it really does encapsulate the instances and the magic of singer-songwriter music. And what I love about it, how while she's not doing anything completely over the top vocally, and how instrumentally it's, again, stripped back, her lyrics and her tone, the earnestness and the sorrow she's bringing here is heavy enough to compensate for that. And to me, I feel when it comes to lyricism and when it comes to delivering a feeling here without projecting, is powerful enough for me. It's heavy enough for me. But one song that is heavy and quite a lot of quirk to it is definitely Most Wanted Man. And with its elevating and descending chords, like the discordance that's placed in here, I know this is going to sound crazy, but sounds like something out of Women's Public Strain, but a bit more of an indie folk version. And it's a pretty robust track too, at close to 4 minutes, which has some pretty kinky writing. But still, the topical focus of love and wanting to please their partner and just wanting to make their partner happy overall, like sexual or non-sexual. And she's once again showcasing her clever way of writing, and simultaneously with the inclusion of religiosity, faith, which again tie into the record really well, with lines like, "It's not God, it's fate. If it's not fate, it's chance. If it's my chance, I'm gonna take it." She is determined. And the song definitely has a lot of punch to it. Definitely the most rockin' cut on the whole entire record. And overall, I think this is a really good return for Lucy Dacus. I do wish it had a stronger beginning though. I do wish it had a stronger ending. But I do think she's gotten more adventurous in terms of production. Definitely pushing the envelope when it comes to her writing. Her writing was excellent on here. But instrumentally though, I do wish there was more consistency. I do wish there was more consistency in the quality here. And there were a handful of cuts here that I think stood out, and not in a good way, in an awkward way. But that still doesn't change the fact I think Lucy is sharpening her sword lyrically here. And she's definitely getting more creative, and I really hope to hear more of that from her in the future. Also, I think lyrically she's branched out more too. But I'm still waiting for her to get more versatile in that department as well. But again, I think the emotion is there, the creativity is there. And I think she's taken some risks on the production side too. I'm feeling a 3.5 out of 5 on this album. If you've given this a listen, what did you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? That's it. And that's it. Caspa, Lucy Dacus, Forever is a Feeling. Till we meet again.